Right. Okay. So just because there is no experiment that God doesn't actually mean that God doesn't exist. But let me finish actually before you say something else. So, and if you believe in God, it doesn't matter what scientists discover about the universe, because any cosmos can be thought of as being consistent with God. On our views of God, physics or anything else ultimately depends on perspective, right?
Sure, I guess.
Okay. So, there's this um there's this
All
quotation
perspectives must
from,
be rational, though, not irrational, and not open
but
beliefs.
either rational or irrational, physics depends on perspective, right? So it can be your perspective, it can be mine, it can be someone else's, but it depends on perspective.
Well, perspective
So
is just the way we
there's
perceive the exact same thing. If the same thing isn't perceived, then there's no rhyme or reason to say it's not fictional. So you're kind of doing this tirade of garble that is very verbose. What is the argument for God possessing evidence? I don't see anything compatible with God's ontology with what you're saying. Like, sure, whatever you're saying is very cogent and very clear, but it seems all visceral and irrelevant from the actual subject matter.
no, it's actually relevant.
You brought up
What I try
faith.
to
What does
say
faith have to
is,
do with the subject?
what is what
What does faith have to do with the subject?
I brought up faith because I'm like, what I'm trying to do is like distinguish between what science requires and what religions require. Science, I said it before. Science requires evidence, while religious belief requires
Well,
faith.
yes, that which is true.
That's how it is.
Wait, but you
Yeah,
realize
that was what I said.
that which is true necessarily encompasses evidence. So, for something to be true, it must correspond with reality. In order for something to correspond with reality, it must have evidence of that correspondence. If it does not have evidence, it
Under
does not correspond.
under science,
No,
right?
under logic.
Under logic.
Yes.
What?
Yes, logic is the philosophical system of reasoning and how things are indicative of conclusions. The conclusion of there being a God without evidence is illogical. That is incoherent. There cannot be that which exists independent of evidence. Evidence is the bridge between
Okay,
reality.
I believe the religious people. I'm religious too, but I believe we religious people like see it as once you have faith in it.
Yes,
This is
but
from the
faith
religious
faith
sense.
doesn't help
Don't
you
bring it to the science
justify
sense.
anything.
You're bringing it.
Well, what
You're
is the
still bringing it to the
justification to your
science
position?
sense.
No, you keep bringing faith. Faith is an overbelief. It's literally categorized as irrational. I want to know that rational basis as why you can commit to this idea of God as your worldview.
All right. So basically, what you're asking for is like evidence that
Justification.
God exists. That is exactly what you're
So
asking
so
for,
so
and
you're
that's on the
conceding there's no
science.
justification.
No. That is on the science.
So then you're conceding there's
It
no
falls
truth in
under
God.
science.
And I don't think you know what
There's,
truth means.
I never said that.
Well,
I
yes,
never
you're,
said
you're
that.
saying that God has no evidence, right? But he's somehow true. That is incoherent. That is not
No.
capable of being the
I also
case.
said something in the beginning. Like when I started, I also said something. I said science requires like they don't have any experiments that can ever detect God. Doesn't also mean that God is not like God does not exist. That was what I said. You
You,
guys like
you,
I mean
oh my
scientists
God.
right now. Are you
So,
a scientist? Are you a scientist?
am I a scientist? No, I'm not a
Are you a
scientist.
scientist? Okay, but
I'm a
you
science
learn
enthusiast.
science, or how
Yes,
do I say
I
it?
know science. Yes.
All right, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So, and science requires evidence. You like science. There's no experiment on the science that
No,
can
no, no.
prove God's
Yeah,
existence,
you're
or
conflating
that can
stuff once
never
again.
detect God.
Science is the investigation of reality. So anything that is reality, reality is the
Yeah,
set.
it's
Wait.
investigation.
Reality is the aggregate of that which is real and existent within a system. So anything that is real is a property of reality. If God is real, he's a property of reality. All science does is investigate reality. So if God is to be real, he necessarily must encompass evidence. That which does not incorporate evidence into its conception cannot be true by definition. This is an analytical, trivial truth. It's de minimis. Literally, correspondence by nature is just It's literally just a bridge that connects with the encapsulation of that which is actual. It's just a connection between us getting facts. If there's no fact of the matter of God, of course there's no evidence. There can't be a fact that God exists without evidence. That is incoherent. No evidence, no God.
Wait, Monkey Boy, are you saying because there is no evidence, therefore there is no God?
Yes.
Exactly. I was about to ask that. And
Uh,
I've been trying to
isn't that
disprove you since. You can't say because there is no evidence, there is no God. That's just the thing. You've been talking about logic since. You can't just say
So
because there is
you
no
agree God
evidence,
has no
there is
evidence,
no
right?
God. So, what do you say?
But you agree there's no evidence of God, right? So
well, I agree.
I just want to
There's no
get clear
evidence that what?
of God, right?
Oh god, my heart. Shit.
I mean, it depends, Monkey Boy. Would you take something like any like philosophical argument for God? Well, I'm assuming since you'll just reject it as not being sound, you'd take it that it's not evidence at all. But perhaps
Yeah.
perhaps evidence would look like something like a collective case. Like if I because it's difficult for me. Like, what exactly is evidence? I feel like evidence in a way, and maybe you'll disagree here. It's
Evidence is
kind of
just
like,
whatever raises the probability of a proposition. That's all it is. It's just
yeah,
justification.
yeah, but that's going to be different for everyone in a way, right? And you'll probably disagree with me here because I think there's an element of subjectiveness when it comes to some of these, to evidence, right? Especially if you look at it as like a collective case for God, right? If you take all the data that we have in front of us, right, and take all the arguments, and you take all what people take as evidence for God, right, including their own sort of like predispositions to believe certain things, right?
Yeah,
They
but
may,
this is very known in philosophy. I'll even quote this from Roger Sutton from Modern Philosophy. Very good book, by the way. So
yeah,
the relation between beliefs and the objects of truth is that which is called correspondence. It is the gap between truth and justification. It's an isolated bridge. A rational belief and justification may not be true. It is feasible that it is a logical capacity or a concept that betters an ideal of actual truth, which a belief is justified falsely and presented in capability of being demonstrated actual. But for anything to be rational, it must ascertain evidence. So there is no truth outside of evidence. That would be incoherent. If I say something can be true
yeah,
without evidence, there's no rhyme or reason as that's true.
yeah, I agree with that, but people take evidence to be different things, right? So someone may take like the ontological argument as evidence for God, right?
Well,
Someone may
evidence is
take,
that which is independent of an assertion. So the claim
Yeah,
that
they
they presuppose stuff in the ontological thing, right? Like that things have causality. Those are arguments that wouldn't raise the probability because then now they would have to first tackle whether or not causality exists or anything they presuppose within that argument, in which most of those philosophical subjects they cannot verify. Therefore, there's no evidence because the only way that argument can get off the ground is if there's evidence for that which is already instantiated within the premise.
okay, okay, are you ruling out causality totally as if it does not exist? Like there's no such thing as causality.
Well, I normally do that, but even then, like, I can entertain the view of causality. That's fine. But then when we talk about
Yeah.
the universe is the totality and the mereology of all facets of material entities within this system. So we know, once again, we only know causality between the change of states of affairs between material interaction. Independent of
I
this,
agree. I
we don't
agree. Yeah.
observe cause and effect at all. Cause and effect is only observable between material. So to say the aggregate of material reality and not the material interaction, material as a state necessitates causality, would need an argument because that's independent of actual causal mechanism that we infer synthetically from what we observe. That is completely not co-equal.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm looking at this as like a worldview case, like not just one argument, but a collection of all arguments together, right? A collection of all sort of like views that a person has, right? And as a collective case, they think like in terms of explanatory power, in terms of something like I don't know if you know like Graham Oppy's view and how he argues for the non-existence of God, right? Where he takes like the collective case of like natural, what he his version of naturalism, And then he looks at it from an explanatory scope. I think he breaks it up into like 3 different categories. I forgot what they are now. And then he also breaks it up in terms of parsimony, simplicity, And then from that view, he compares like the two world views, right? The collective case of naturalism and the collective case of theism, at least whatever version of theism, probably classical theism, is the one that he's probably more familiar with. And that's the one that he compares it to. And then he finds that his view probably has better. Let's say they have equal explanatory scope, right? But in terms of simplicity, like the naturalistic view will always win out because you're not posing a like intelligent agent or something like that. That's like the source of all reality or something like that, right? So his view will always be much more parsimonious than like the theistic view. And then from there, he then argues that it's most likely that there are no gods, or at least naturalism is the better explanation, right? And then kind of says that there are no gods and rules out the existence of a god. So I
I'm
don't
not
know.
gonna lie, that's far too
Yeah,
pedantic and convoluted.
yeah,
All you need to do is boom. All minds possess brains. There's no evidence of mind independent of a brain. Therefore, it is millions of times more probable that a single agent without a brain than all the existent entities have brains. So boom, God doesn't exist. So much evidence, outstanding amount of evidence. Boom, God fails. Well, that's a wrap up, boys. God failed once again. Any other arguments?
yeah,
Um, creation demands a creator, and that
Creation
was
doesn't
kind of like
exist.
negated.
There's no such thing as
yeah,
creation.
yeah. I'm just
What are
thinking.
you
So
saying, fam? Creation
wait,
doesn't exist.
Yes, creation
what?
doesn't exist. Right?
How?
How
Then
do we
how?
observe creation?
Then
There's no creator.
how did cars come into existence?
Oh,
Is this
because
the
there's a
is this the
difference
same
Wasn't
person?
it
between.
created?
Yeah,
Kyle, is that
no, they
you?
weren't.
This is someone else.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Kyle.
it's
It's
me
Kyle.
actually. He said, no, it's me. He said creation doesn't exist. I don't
Yes,
agree
doesn't
with that.
exist. Okay.
How did cars come into existence?
Um.
Like
The,
how do we
oh,
have cars
yeah.
now?
So it was never created. It was just developed, changed.
It was developed.
Yes,
I don't
I
I
think
don't understand what
you're
you're saying.
conflating change and creation. Creation is to the action of
What
bringing
you
that.
saying,
Wait,
fam?
wait, 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 wait.
It's
So creation is to bring that which did not exist prior into existence. When we talk about the atoms that make up all material reality, all we're doing is changing the state of material order. There's no creating a car. It's just changing the molecules into something else. It's like I'm using Play-Doh and I sculpt different items. I'm not creating new stuff. I'm just changing the state of one single entity into different states. So there is no creation. Creation doesn't exist. Never can we observe that which didn't exist at all coming into existence. That's literally two principles. Second law of thermodynamics, nothing can be created or destroyed because everything is composite of energy. Energy can't be created or destroyed. As well as ex nihilo fit, nothing can come from nothing.
all right. I literally
Or rather,
don't
something
don't
can't come
still
from nothing.
agree. Sorry, I literally don't still agree that there's nothing such as creation.
So
But do you
when did
agree
we
with
wait
me
wait wait?
that
When
sorry?
did we observe something come out of nothing? When did we observe something not exist come into existence?
Oh my God.
So can I point out something from your argument there, Kyle?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, what's up, Jim?
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up? Hi, bro.
So
Yes, you can, bro.
cool. You're making this analogy, right? That we see things come created, right? Quote unquote created in the world. So we see like a
Yeah.
car being created, we see a phone being created, we see a house, right? So therefore the universe must be created. I think where your analogy fails is that a phone has its own creator.
Sorry. Hold on a minute. Sorry, hold on a minute. I never said anything about universes, blah blah blah. What I said was it's an argument. Creation demands a creator. So we just all started
Right.
giving
So what
examples
do
and
you
arguing that.
consider a creation? What do you consider creation?
Hmm.
Uh, we are creations actually. Human beings are
What
creations.
is we? So it's
Animals
That's
are
human.
that's
creation.
that's that's begging the question. That's a
Fine.
vacuous
So
truth. What's the
so
what
what
is
else is
creation and which
creation?
it varies?
What else is creation?
What else? What else is creation? Um,
He's asking, what's the
The world.
criterion for something to be evaluated as a creation? What would make something a creation? What is the criterion?
The fact that it never existed but was brought into existence. That's what
So
creation
the
is.
So fine.
universe
So like,
didn't exist
let me run
prior.
with this. Hold on. So in your worldview, like, what are things that are creations? So you said we are creation. What else is creation?
The world is creation.
Okay.
The earth is creation.
So then I wasn't wrong in my assessment when I said that like the universe and the stars is creation, right? Because you stopped me and you said no, no,
Yeah,
no.
they are actually. No, no,
Okay.
no, no,
So
no.
then,
You said I said something about that. That was why I actually like stopped you and
well,
you know,
yeah, but it entails, right? Because you're saying creation demands a creator. And so when
yeah,
if you insert humans, world, the universe in place of creation, that's
yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what I said, right? So like I don't see where you're disagreeing with. My point is
Keep
that
go on.
yeah. So if you're making this analogy, right, that a house needs a creator, a car needs a creator. The thing is that all of these have individual creators. So if you're running with the same analogy, then everything within quote unquote creation needs its individual creators, right? There must have been a creator for humans, a creator for the world, a creator for stars, a creator for the universe. It doesn't follow that.
Agreed.
Yeah, so then in your worldview there are multiple creators, right?
In my world, there are multiple
Yeah,
creators.
like in your argument, because creation demands a creator, everything
Yes.
separately within creation has separate creators. So there's a creator for humans, there's a creator for the world, there's a creator for the sun, there's a creator for there's multiple creators
But
in your argument.
this is like kind of confusing because
Agreed.
how do we know something is created as opposed to not created? What is the criterion for something to be created? That it has a creator? What if
Yeah, I
something is
mean
uncreated?
we could delve into that. I just wanted to make sure that when he says creation demands a creator, what he's really saying is that there are multiple creators for everything that we see that is quote unquote
Yeah, yeah,
creation.
yeah.
Yeah. So then if those there are
Yeah,
multiple
that's
creators and
that's
you're
what I
saying
said.
that a creator is a god, in your worldview there's multiple gods, right? So then you're not really a Christian, you're kind of like a uh, what is that, like a pantheist,
Yeah, pantheist. And then
right?
surely like God would have a creator as
Yeah.
well, like a God's God.
Yeah. It makes an infinite regression of polytheism.
Sorry, I actually went to do something. What were you saying about I mean, where did you
Oh.
stop
Okay.
at?
Okay. Let's just go into the criterion aspect because we're not going to add nauseam this.
Okay.
What you could do it, Jim, right? You better explain things, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so then at that point we have to understand, like, if you're saying everything around us is created, right? Because
Well, yeah, that's a
you're saying,
positive claim.
yeah, you're saying that everything we see that we call natural, right, is a creation, and everything that is man-made is a
Yes.
creation. So everything around us that we
Yeah.
see is creation. How do we know what's non-creation?
Yeah. I believe that the fact that something exists means it's created. That's what I
Right.
believe.
So
What's the argument for that?
everything in existence is creation. How do you know it's actually
Yeah.
creation if you have nothing to compare it against?
And does Kyle, does God exist?
If I have,
Well, that's the literal subject
yeah,
matter. We're going on his argument for why God exists.
Yeah, but
I
if
believe
you
so.
notice, he just said that everything that exists was created. Not everything that begins to exist, everything that exists, which would include God.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize.
Yeah, Mitch. That is actually a good point. But yes, that's what I mean.
But how do we not? How do you know you're observing things that exist independent of creation? There must be a criterion
Independent
for.
of creation.
Yeah, there has to be a creation, or I mean, a criterion for that which evaluates as creation and that which fails.
Creation.
So how do we know we're not all non-created? Like energy is not created.
Energy is not created. Like
Yeah. How do
energy.
you what's the
What do you
argument?
mean?
How do you conclude that? Well,
What do you mean
everything's made of
energy?
energy. Yeah, everything's made of energy.
Okay.
The entire material reality is just energy. So energy existed after the zero splitting of a field in the quantum state. So energy is literally just that which is composed. It's the substratum of the
Another
entire.
quantum
It's
physics.
hypostatic, right? So I'm yeah. What is the argument that energy needs or is created?
Yeah, just as I said before, I know nothing about quantum physics, so
Right.
if you're
Well,
asking me
Okay,
a
well,
question,
what,
just
let
ask
me
me
give you
something that I know.
well, you know how
let me give
everything's
you
are
a
made of
simple
atoms, right?
example. Let me give you a simple example, right, in terms of this criteria of creation. Like we understand what the concept of hot is, right? Right, Kyle? You understand what the concept of hot is?
Tip of what?
The concept of hot, like something being hot.
Heart.
Yeah,
Like,
like yeah. So like fire is hot, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. So if we say that everything, to a certain degree, is hot, right? Um, how are we going to know what cold is if everything we're comparing to, we're saying, well, this is, you know, um, hot to a certain degree, like a scale of heat, right? Um, but if we don't have something opposite of that, like cold, how do we even know what the concept of hot is?
Um, wait, sorry, can you just hold? Emily, please get me my charger. All right, so I believe that hot or cold, they're just like words given to something like something felt. How do I say this? Okay, so if you touch something and you say this thing is hot, what makes you know that it's hot? What? Why do you call it hot?
The qualia, the stimulation of your brain in reference to the interaction of the object.
But who said that feeling you had when you touched that thing is called hot? Who
Well,
said
yeah,
that?
those are arbitrary conceptual necessities.
Right.
We can change the terms hot and
Exactly.
cold.
Exactly.
My point
So
is
when
that
you
in
touch
order to
something and you feel
right,
like,
right.
all
My
right,
point
so
is that
you touched it. Okay, go on.
in order to understand the concept of hot, you also need to understand the concept of cold so you could compare it to it, right?
Yeah.
So similarly, I mean, if you're saying everything is creation, you would need to know what the concept of non-creation is in order to know what creation is. And so if you're saying that everything that we see that exists is creation, how do you even know what creation is if there's nothing that's non-creation to compare it to?
Okay, so everything that I said, everything that exists, that is in existence, is creation, right? That was what I said. So,
Right?
you want to know something that is not created, or was that your question?
Yeah, because if you're calling everything that's in existence, which is basically everything in our reality,
Creation.
Hello?
right?
Yo,
Creation, you're
hello?
calling it all creation. Then how do you know it's creation if there's nothing in existence that's non-creation? Like, how are you making the comparison?
Something that is in existence is creation. Anything that is not in existence that you just think about, it's not being created. It's just, how do I say this? It's like just there in your head or something. You know, before cars were created, someone had the thought of it before it was created, right? Do you agree with
Um,
me?
say that again one more time.
I said before, just an example. Before cars were created, someone thought about cars being created, or something similar
Okay,
about it,
sure.
right? Okay,
Okay,
then.
But that's
So
not creation.
when
That's
no,
just
just hold on a bit, hold on a bit.
just like
So
run with his argument.
that particular time, that particular time when that person was thinking about cars, it's not been created. It's not yet the creation. But when the cars were created, they became creations of someone.
for clarity, you include the change of state as a part of creation, right?
I did not do that. I only said, okay, for example, now
But you think
I
the
like me,
quote unquote
Kyle.
creation of a
Sorry,
car
let
is
me give
creation, right?
the what?
Because yeah, when you say the creation of a car, that's distinct from the changing of a different material into a car. But so are you saying that you
Okay, yeah.
include just changing a material as to be categorized as creation as well?
Probably.
Okay, so then what makes you think that the universe needs a change of state or creation? Because we know creation in terms of nothing coming into somethingness is just logically impossible. So if material and energy was, just changed, there's no creation. What is the argument that something can come
That
out of
is
that
okay.
which didn't
What
prior
if you say
exist?
something like
When
this?
we observe stuff created, it's just changing of that which already existed into something else, right? We never observed nothing existing in this at all, and then it, coming into existence. We never observed that. That is literally philosophically wrong, incompatible with reality. So when you say things are created,
Yeah, sorry.
it cannot include ex nihilo fit, something coming from nothing. That can't be the case. So if it's just change, that's just an infinite regression of energy in which it had prior states. So there is no creation at all. It's just adding contingencies that, with parsimony would be irrelevant, like Occam's razor.
Okay. Um, what if I said it like this? Um, I don't know what material was changed to create a car. Do you get that? But that material that was used in creating the car, that itself, isn't it a creation?
No, of course not. We know that things can't
Okay,
come from nothing. So,
what material?
well,
Okay, we
energy
know that
always
things can come
existed.
from nothing.
Wait, energy always existed. Energy changed into different material forms. We use specific material forms to make different material forms. But we don't create, there's not an aspect in which there's no material and we create material from nothing. We use the existing material and change it into a different way we can use it for utility. All a material is hypostatic.
Okay.
So when you say material was created, that means material came from nothing. So that means energy came from nothing. What's the argument that things can be created from things that didn't priorly exist?
It's just like that. The argument I gave right now has just been like negated because I actually agree with what you're saying.
All right.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Uh,
life demands a life giver.
Once again, that's a presupposition where does life
Okay,
need a
it's
life
no,
giver?
it's an argument. It's an argument.
Oh, that's your argument. So the conclusion would be that there is a life giver, right?
Yeah, no, no, it's just an argument. You can argue on it, we can debate on it, but what I'm saying is life demands a life giver.
We have evidence. What can the life giver be? Like inanimate?
Yeah,
I don't know
this
about that.
life
What I
giver can
know,
be
what
a
I'm
fundamental
saying is
force, right?
life demands a life giver. Yeah,
I
And
mean, yeah, sure,
that's just the argument. So
but
let's
this
just
can be
talk on
like
that.
this
but
can be
physical
like
law could be the life giver, right?
yeah, physical laws and stuff like that. Kyle?
I don't. I wait. I said it when I joined the live. I do not know anything about quantum physics. So
No, I'm not
whatever
talking
you're
about
bringing
quantum
up about
physics.
quantum physics, just make sure
I'm
it's
not.
something that's easy for me to understand.
Yeah. Trust me. Don't worry. I won't. I won't do that to you. What I'm saying is,
All right then.
can the life giver be not alive itself? Can it just be like a physical thing in the world?
Yeah, can it just be a
Give
natural
me an
law, right?
example. Give me an
Like
example.
like gravity, right?
A
And
natural
gravity
law.
causes, yes, gravity causes attraction between
Yeah.
objects. So it can be a fundamental law within reality in reference to the nomological reality, right? All the scientific understanding that grants the existence of life,
Or even like
just as gravity
Okay, can
grants.
you pause? Can you pause, please? Sorry, can you pause? Um, well, let me ask the question. What do you understand by being alive? What does it mean? What what is life? What does it
To
mean
have
to be
conscious
alive?
experience, react to stimuli, have qualia, experience things, understand reality, interpret reality.
Okay, so whose definition is that?
not
Like,
mine.
who is speaking?
Uh,
That's what I'm trying to say.
I believe this is like colloquial. It's monkey boy.
Monkey boy, is that you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so give me your definition for life itself again.
Yes, conscious experience.
Conscious experience is life.
Hmm.
Okay, give me examples of things that you think are life, except from like we yourselves. Give me examples of things you think are
Pretty
life.
much all animals. Anything that has conscious
Okay,
experience, they can react to stuff. They react to
Okay.
stimuli, have qualia. They experience eating. They experience pain. They could get happy. I give a dog a
Okay.
treat. It wags its tail. They react to
okay.
different things with different concordance of their
Monkey
very
boy.
nature and character.
For my own understanding, are you differentiating what it means to be alive or have a life instead of what it means to be a living thing? Because plants, as far as we know, aren't sentient.
Sorry, give me.
Well,
we,
yeah. In
we
terms
we
of
have not
agency,
observed
that's what I would take to be life.
we have not
I mean,
we have not observed self-awareness in bacteria, but they are alive, right?
yeah, yeah, plants and bacteria. But I was talking specifically in relation to agency. I mean, I honestly don't know how I would define plant life. Just the capacity to utilize its environment.
What
Can
are
you
the
hold on a
requirements
bit?
for
Monkey
life?
boy, right?
What are
The
the
capacity
requirements for
to
life?
sustain itself.
KG
What are
Mula,
the
you're not allowing me to ask my question. You're just asking what I wanted to ask.
sorry? What are the requirements for life?
All right, just no. There's no problem. Answer the question, Monkey Boy. That was the same thing I was gonna ask.
Yeah, the ability to react to different events or and utilize resource, I guess.
No, in
Okay,
a general
can
sense.
someone else give me
In a
can
general
someone
sense,
else
what are
give
the
me a
requirements for life?
definition for life? Oh my God.
I'll give you kind of a roundabout answer. Something that has a metabolism is able
Is
to.
that Mitch?
Yeah, that's Mitch.
Is that
Something.
Mitch? All
Yeah,
right, I
yeah,
knew it
yeah.
was you because what you're given is definitely related to science. So just give me a definition for life.
Yeah, something that has a metabolism. Um, it can typically, but not always, replicate. Um, typically generates energy. Yeah, that's about as universal a definition as we can get. You know, if we just say reacts to stimuli, there are things that are inanimate that aren't living that react to stimuli. So it's difficult.
So
NASA, the working definition NASA has is awful, by the way. So if you go on the internet, don't use that definition. There's something that can
let
that's something
so
that can
Mitch,
replicate that can experience Darwinian
Mitch,
evolution.
All
It's not
right, all right.
art.
Mitch.
But yeah.
If
Let's
I'm
chill out.
able
Let's chill out. Let's chill
to
out.
if I can if one day I'm able to replicate your state of mind, your everything, your experiences and everything, and put it in some storage device, and ultimately allow your current state of mind and everything that is to exist in a robot, for argument's sake. Would
Right.
that robot be alive,
Sure.
Mitch?
But yeah,
KG
sure.
Mula, KG Mula, KG Mula. We
Okay,
can
wait, but
actually
Kyle,
say that that
what do you take
robot
to be
is
life?
alive. Uh,
So
I agree with
life,
Mitch, the scientist, on his definition about life. But the first person that gave me definition for life said something about life is when you're conscious, right?
Yeah. So guys, I
Who was
don't
the
see the
first
point of
person? Was
this.
it Monkey
I,
Boy? Was it monkey
I
boy?
don't
Yes,
see the
yeah, that
point.
was meant.
Wait, but I don't see the point of
But
this. You said
we
life
can go with
comes
Mitch's
from an
No, no, no,
un
no, no,
maybe
no, no.
more
There's
scientific.
a
That's why.
point in this actually.
from a
That
life
was my
giver.
second
So
argument. Yeah, that's the point. Life demands a life giver.
Okay,
okay,
but what's the
so
argument for that?
That's what we're doing. I just gave the step. Life demands a life giver, and we're arguing on it.
Well, that's the
People are
claim.
saying,
What's the
Right.
evidence that that's the case?
So I mean, like, look,
What's
even
the
if
evidence that that's not the case?
Well,
sure, that's fine.
I'm
Like,
not
thank you
asserting
for
that's
that,
the case.
KG Mola.
Wait. Yeah, KJ or KG. I'm not asserting that's not the case. He's making an affirmation as an assertive proposition that it is the case. So in order for him to
Nah,
So,
bro,
posit,
it's an
no,
argument. It's an
yeah,
argument.
exactly. So he's
it's a
positing
good
there's a
one.
life giver.
Yeah.
What's the
But
evidence?
Monkey Boy, it is a good one because the egg didn't
Well,
give
he
birth
has
to
no
Nah,
itself.
evidence yet.
It came from something.
I'm
The
not,
cycle needs an
I'm
origin.
not,
Well,
The
yeah, that's
cycle
a
of
sure.
life
presupposition
requires
that
an
has
origin.
a
It cannot
justification.
infinitely have been. The chicken could not always have been giving birth to itself. Some initial point where the earth the egg got hatched or the chicken gave birth to the egg, then which should then beg
Yeah.
the
Well, that's
question:
completely
who
different.
put the
Whether or
egg
not
there
there's an
or who
infinite
put the
regression in
chicken there?
which there's no initial starting point, in which natural, arbitrary phenomenon can cause organisms to come into being, is different from whether or not there's a life giver.
Hold on.
all
Can
right.
I make a point?
Can I
Can I make a
ask a
point here?
question? Can I ask a question? What's the law of biogenesis?
Abiogenesis.
It's not a
Just
law.
biogenesis, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's not a
what's it?
law. It's a
What do we
hypothesis.
call it? What do we call it? Yeah,
A
the
hypothesis.
hypothesis. What do we
Hmm.
call it?
That's what they call it,
Abiogenesis.
Okay.
hypothesis. Yeah.
Okay, so what does it say?
It says that living matter came from non-living matter.
Thank you.
Okay. Can we
Hmm.
continue with the argument?
Yes, continue.
Okay. KG Molo, you can continue.
So basically, I've once said something similar, but I'm gonna say that basically the cycle of life could not have just always been, and the
Well, why is that the
delicacy of
case?
the requirements of life are so strict that
You
the
keep like
chicken could not just have been. The egg had to come first,
yeah,
or the chicken had
but
to
this is the
come
problem.
first. But
We can't just superimpose presuppositions as vacuous truths without adequate justification to warrant such a assumption in which it is viable to continue an argument. If there's no
okay,
Look,
reason for this to be
I
the
don't
case, the
I
argument
don't see
fails.
how their argument goes against naturalism, right? Because if you're saying that life
Yeah,
needs to have a
methodological
cause,
naturalism can be the life giver. That's simple.
right? Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
like you're saying life needs a life giver, quote unquote life giver. Yeah, I agree with that, right? Nothing in that statement says that that life giver needs to be some kind of like intelligent external being, right? The same way that like rain, you could say demands a rainmaker, right? But that rainmaker could be like the clouds and like the temperature that becomes just right in order to have rain happen, right? And so if life demands a quote
Obviously.
unquote life maker,
Yeah.
then yeah, I mean, like we could say that the conditions were just right that abiogenesis happened and therefore life began.
Hmm. This is once again the problem.
Oh
So,
my
an
god.
explanatory scope. Where's the
Robbie,
evidence?
sorry. Sorry, just a second. Robbie, you said something in the comment section. What if Jesus was aborted? Please don't say that. Please don't say that. Please. I'm begging you, please don't say that. No, 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 no.
That's funny.
I'm begging you. Please don't say that. Please. Like what? How do you even expect us to argue that? Like it's not an argument. Everything about Christianity,
It's not an
religion,
argument. It's just a
everything
what
will
if.
just be washed away. No, no, no. You know, Jesus actually, as it was said in the Bible or in religion, obviously, that Jesus was the one who came to start preaching and doing stuff like that. So, if Jesus actually was aborted, where does religion come from?
Human fictional paradigms. Not that's all. Just narrative
There
paradigms.
was religion way before Jesus came.
Yeah, there's religion far before Jesus.
No, like when I'm like what I'm talking about is religion that points towards God.
No religion
Do you get what
points
I'm trying to
towards
say?
God. Like that's like
Yeah,
a
there
fact.
there were there were many religions that pointed towards different gods, right? Towards like Judaism
Different
pointed
gods.
to
Like
the God. Yeah.
then,
Before
Well,
Jesus
but
when
came,
we talk about
Judaism pointed to Yahweh.
when we talk about
we're talking
posits
about
that it got, it doesn't
yeah.
actually point towards it, right? It doesn't actually follow that there's a God using any of these doctrines. Like it asserts this, and then there are, I guess, some historical events of actual people, but many of them are fictional. Like Moses doesn't exist at all. This is like the historian consensus,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah. All right,
one
can we
second,
like go back to the real topic now? I have something that I would like to ask.
yeah. But what's the evidence
Has
that
science ever
naturalism is?
created life from non-life? Does
Yes,
anyone know anything
methodological naturalism.
about that?
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
So
abiogenesis is.
science has created life from
You mean
non-life.
like scientists in the lab? We haven't done it yet, no.
No, not scientists.
Has
We never
God
conducted any experiment which created life.
has God ever
All
created
right.
life?
So let me kind of like read this to
Well,
you.
yeah, that's
All
logically
right,
possible too.
there's
God
something I'm
exists
saying here.
independent of him actually making the universe. What
Yeah.
makes you think
All
he
right.
makes the universe or creates man or anything?
All right. There's something I'm seeing online here. Let me just read it to you guys. Can
But
I?
if there is a God to exist, why do you think he created everything? How do you know that methodological naturalism didn't just exist and then things came in naturally and God just didn't? There's no conformity with him. He didn't actuate anything. He just exists and has nothing, no dependency to universe coming into being. He just saw it, observed it, didn't care. He took no account. He didn't, come into the scenario at all. What makes you think God created? Because saying God exists is an independent thing from whether or not God actually, committed the action of creating stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. If we're like gonna go with other things, I don't know. We have a lot of atheists here. So I'd like if you guys actually believed in the Bible, there's like a lot of evidences in the Bible. That's the Bible that talks
Well, no, no, no,
about
no, no, no.
Like
God
what?
That's
creating
untrue.
stuff.
Well, no, it makes claims. So the Bible can't justify the
It
Bible. That's a self-assuring argument. It's called circularity. It's logically
exactly.
fallacious.
Exactly.
Logically fallacious.
That was why that was hold on. That was why I said if you guys actually believed in the Bible.
Well, yes,
Because I know
evidence
we
is
have a
that
lot
which
of
is
atheists
independent to
here.
an assertion that raises the probability of the proposition. So, if the Bible is true, there must be evidence independent to the Bible which justifies the Bible, not the Bible justifying the Bible.
All right, I want to read something to you guys. Can I?
Don't read the Bible, please.
Please don't read the
No,
Bible.
no, no, not the Bible, not the Bible. Chill out, bro. Not the Bible. Chill out, bro. Chill out. So can I read it to you guys?
Yeah, sure.
All right then. So even though science has never not once, I mean not even once created life from non-life, that's a fact. Some scientists are so determined to reject the idea of a creator God that they put aside their own scientific objectivity and stake their belief on what science has shown to be impossible. That's another fact. The
No, it's not.
scientific method,
This seems all
it's a fact. No,
exhaustive.
no, no, no. It's a
Yeah,
fact
No,
because
it's
no, no.
not.
I'm fine with granting this is all factual, but it's so exhaustive and not pertinent to the
yeah,
subject. Because whether or not
but it's
naturalism
facts.
conducts truths is independent of science is conducting these truths, right? It's like like naturalistically, gravity exists. Scientists can't recreate gravity and make gravity. That's just completely different from whether or not gravity exists on a natural basis. So whether or not humans can recreate life is different from whether naturalism does this. Like all fundamental forces in reality exist from nature. Humans can't recreate these forces. So this is
Yeah,
like not relevant.
I've not read anything about that. I didn't see anything about that. You
So do you
just
think
took what
humans
I was
created
reading to another
gravity?
dimension. Now, I've not said anything about that, bro. I have
But
not.
but, but
Should I
the
read from the
passage you're
start
reading,
again?
no, the passage you're reading
Nah,
is
I
talking
said
about humans creating life. That's
no.
not that's
Listen
not
to
relevant.
this. Listen to this. That's listen, bro. I said even though science has never not even once created life from non-life, some scientists are so determined to reject the idea of a creator God that they put aside their own scientific objectivity and stake their belief on what science has shown to be
How are
impossible.
they
That
putting
was what I read.
aside?
I didn't say anything about
Well, I
humans.
do,
Yeah,
get monkey boy. Wait, I do get the fact that this, even if we grant it, it doesn't follow, right? But I'm not granting it. Uh, we're not moving past this. We're not moving past it.
exactly.
Okay, Kyle. No.
Just
One.
chill.
But
No.
I'm
No.
not
No.
Just chill.
understanding.
Let me
No.
finish.
He's
To
saying
finish.
that science is rejecting its own objectivity. How's that the case? Where's that coming
Nah.
about?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I said some scientists are so determined to reject the idea of a creator God that they put aside their own scientific objectivity and
Yeah, so
stake their
that's
belief
what I'm saying.
on what science.
How are they putting aside?
They're staking their belief on what science, or on what science has shown to be impossible.
Yeah, but their beliefs
That's
aren't
right.
just
That's what our life
educated
has been
guesses,
about
right? There's
since.
Sorry,
evidence.
can I say something, please? Can I say something? Kyle, can you give an example of where the scientists have believe things that science says is impossible?
Okay, for example, like what we're doing here is like saying it's talking about God. So science has been and like they have no evidence that God actually exists, and they've been like finding like how do I say this? They've been making experiments and blah blah about if to know if God actually exists, but they've not
Which
seen any
experiment?
evidence
But
that
but
God
but
Sorry,
doesn't
but
which
exist.
that's the
which
problem. This is
which
the problem.
sorry, which
Unicorns can
experiment?
logically
Yes,
exist.
that wait, chill out, chill out. I said like science, like experiments in science have not found any evidence that God exists. And what I said over here was that scientists believe in their experiment, like they believe in their scientific,
Yes,
sorry,
because of
their
evidence.
scientific methods of proving things. So you guys are making me
But yeah, but they
confused.
don't
Yeah, and
arbitrarily
that's what I
believe in
said.
truth.
We are still saying the
Yeah,
same thing, bruh.
I think I think perhaps you
You're
may be
You're not.
you're
saying that
conflating
that
you're
You're
conflating
not.
a belief
I
with
think
You're so
speculation.
confused. You're
I
so
think you may be
confused with so
saying
many.
that I think you may be saying that science presupposes like naturalism, right?
They don't believe in whatever they believe in independent of evidence. They believe it because evidence leans towards this truth. That's why they believe in it. If there was no evidence, science has no reason to believe in it. Like
I
literally, one of the
never said
principles
anything
in
about
all of
that.
theories is the
I
principle
did.
of natural. It
Oh
must
my
be
God.
non-inductive.
That's that we are literally saying the same thing because
Okay,
I
Okay,
said
I'm
that
not understanding. What is the point of
science
this passage?
they put
How is this passage relevant to whether or not God exists? How is this relevant?
okay, can you let me read finish?
Finish what?
The
Can
passage.
you what I was
The,
reading? I'm not
but,
done yet.
okay, but why is the passage relevant? I don't see why you should continue reading something that's. Oh, hold on, I'm getting a call.
Can you
I'm
let
gonna
me
leave
read
and I'll
finish? If
I'll
I
be
read
joined back.
finish, you're like gonna see something.
Kyle,
I saw the passage online and I want to read it to you guys. That's what I'm doing. And I asked for permission and you gave it to me.
Yeah, sure.
So can I read it finish?
Yeah, sure. Jeez.
All right, so the scientific method requires observation, experimentation, and human reasoning. So no physical experiment can prove God is in a scientific sense. Science can only produce experimental results that are either consistent or inconsistent with the hypothesis of a creator God. Yet, what happens when scientists encounter facts that are consistent with a creator? Many will dogmatically declare that there cannot be a God, ironically making a religion out of their unscientific atheism. That was what I wanted to read.
Okay, cool. So that's
Yeah.
just wrong, right?
So
Yeah.
what I'm trying to bring out here is there is no physical experiment that can prove that God
We don't try.
exists.
We already said this at the beginning of the conversation. You came up and you already said God is, outside of evidence, and so we're not using empirical evidence.
Exactly. So
So so so
and
so
it
wait.
also
Let me finish.
means
Just
that
wait. You just spoke a lot. Okay. So
okay, no problem.
yeah. Cool. So we don't in science. We don't try to disprove God. It's not something that science attempts to do or could attempt to do. With abiogenesis, we are not believing in something that's impossible just because we haven't done it yet. Certainly doesn't mean it's impossible. And all of the evidence points towards it being possible, which is why we keep the hypothesis and we test it and we test it. And if we falsify it, we'll have a different, we'll come up with something else. It's a continuous search for truth. It's not just, oh, you haven't done it yet, so it's impossible. That's just a false claim, okay?
Okay, I was just reading something to you guys because I wanted to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah, but that is my opinion, that it's false claims. It's just
Yeah.
clearly
Okay.
like
That is
kind of a religious bias website that is trying to make claims that aren't true.
okay. Jim, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I would agree. Where did you cite this from? Like, where were you reading this from?
I just saw something like online or something.
What
Oh,
website?
okay.
Is it
Yeah,
like
what was it?
Christian.com?
Reasonablefaith.org.
Sorry, what did you say?
What was the website or the source you were reading it from?
Tomorrowsworld.org.
Tomorrowsworld.org. Okay. Yeah. So,
So I just wanted to hear you guys' opinion on it.
Yeah, that's my opinion. Thank you, Holy Sister. Yeah, so what do you think about my opinion that it's, we're scientists aren't believing things that are impossible, especially not in spite of God. We don't care about God. We're just trying to find the most reasonable explanation for the origin of life because it will help us in our technology, our medicine, our understanding of ourselves.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, what do you think about that?
About what? Repeat it, please.
About what I just said about your text. That it's not true.
I don't know about that. Wait, hold on. It's not my text. I read it to you guys so I could get your opinion on it. Do you
Yeah,
get
I
that?
just meant,
It's not
yeah,
my text.
I get you.
Okay, so I'm just trying to get your opinion on it. It's not my text.
All right, well,
All right
what's
then.
your
Can we
argument for God?
just
In my opinion, is it's completely irrelevant. It's just like
the
Yeah.
argument was about
poetry is not evidence. Poetry is not an argument. So it can say whatever it wants.
okay, the argument was about that life demands a life giver. That
Okay,
was the
and
argument.
our reply to that is that a life giver could be something natural and not God.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So methodological naturalism is what we believe with abiogenesis to cause life. So the life giver is just natural reality. That's it.
Okay, if you say the life giver is just natural, what makes you think that God is not just natural?
Once again, with quantum theory and the use of
Just a
methodological
question. Just a
naturalism,
question.
the hypothesis fails in comparison to the models. They're antithetical. So quantum theory cannot
Can I say something,
coexist
please?
with like God.
Can I say something, please?
Yeah, go ahead, Caleb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Kyle, I don't really get the point of what you say because when you say something, you get a bit of pushback, then you change what you said and you say that's not what you meant. Then you say another ignorant thing, get a pushback, then you pivot to another thing. I mean, that's just an observation I've made. So I'm just putting it out there. But my
Yeah.
major reason that your question you asked just now does not make any sense because God, by definition, is not a natural event. So asking that question, why God can't be a natural, does not make any sense. Or you have any other thing to prove to make that question make sense?
Or do you know what, Caleb?
Kyle, you got to start realizing if you don't have an argument with the
Eh,
evidence, then it's not a real argument.
And I would say you could have a natural God. It would be like, but then that natural God would need a natural explanation. And so, the theist in the situation would have the same burdens that we have in naturalism. But yeah, you could have like a simulator, for example, in a higher dimension.
Yeah, but I think like
okay,
how
I
God is
kind of
defined is
realized that I kind of
Yeah.
realized that what Caleb said is kind of like true because when I thought about it, but what I'm just trying to do is like bring up questions I have so we
Yeah.
can talk about it. It's not like I'm trying to run away from answers. When I bring up the questions and you guys give me your opinions and I see that okay, this is wrong, I move on. That's just what I've been doing since. I'm not doing something like when you say this is wrong, then I'll start arguing even without knowing the answer. That's not what I'm
No,
doing.
fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, like, I think you've kind of been honest with that in a couple of these arguments. And if it's just a matter of like you bringing these arguments because it's things that you've heard in the past, and to you they've been like justified in terms of arguing for God, then it's probably a good forum, right? Because we're kind of showing you how they're not really good arguments for God.
Exactly. That's just what I've been doing.
Yeah.
All right, so does anyone want to say something or should I like move on?
Yeah, you can move on.
Um, yeah, next argument, please.
Okay, answered prayers.
Unanswered prayers.
Yeah,
That's what
answered
I'd raise you.
prayers.
That's what I'd raise you. Because some people pray for like a new bike and then they'll get a new bike. And then some people pray for their poorly
Yeah,
children who have done nothing
there's no
wrong
way
to
to
be saved.
distinguish the actuation of an event with coincidence as opposed to God actually giving it. And once again, right? Once again, this model of I pray and therefore something comes true is still compatible with the data as an explanatory scope. I can say pixies like granting wishes. You pray, you think you're talking to a God. Pixie can hear your thoughts, grant you a bike. Boom. Doesn't mean a God exists, so that's irrelevant. And even then, there's no distinguishing like a variable from coincidence.
Yeah, and also adding on to what monkeyboy has said, um, the efficacy of prayer, there have been studies that have been made about it. I think the early 2000s or middle 2000s, there are studies that have been made that show that prayer, there's no difference between prayer and random chance across all religions. Like prayers get answered at 30% rate, which no, not 30,
It's not a consistent mechanism, right?
it's
Because
not a consistent mechanism.
yeah,
And
it's not.
you have the same answer prayer rates in Islam, in
We can
Christianity,
pray like
and
millions of
also
times and then have
and also in
some
Hinduism.
events occur. So
So
there's no
and also
reason
people
why
that
that would be inferred the mechanism.
prayer and also prayer,
And
the rate of prayer being answered and the rate of at which astrology is true are also at the same rate. So we cannot differentiate between prayer and chance. So obviously prayer does not work. Even in the Christian framework, prayer does not still work. Because if you know the attributes of God as being all knowing and all powerful, those two attributes, being all knowing and all powerful, means that there is no free will, and also means that it's not possible that you can pray to a God that's already determined everything will happen to change his mind. So if whatever your prayer is not aligned with the will of God, your prayer won't be answered. So, and you can never know if your prayer is aligned with the will of God or not. So essentially, even in the Christian framework, prayer is not a it's not a good tool to access if there's God.
Agreed, agreed. Caleb, I have a question though. Are you a believer? Do you believe in God?
No, if I did, I won't be repeating
You don't.
your question.
Sorry, I didn't get your answer.
I didn't.
I
you
don't.
sound a
Hey,
bit
I
muffled.
said, do you believe in God?
I don't.
Yes or no?
I
Okay, you
don't.
don't. Okay, all right. I've heard everyone's argument about answered prayers, and I don't know what to say about that. But let's just move on. Can we?
Kyle, can I ask you a question?
Wait. Hold on a second. I've not heard Mitch's answer. Mitch, the scientist. I've not heard you say something about that. You're
Yeah,
not
yeah, I was.
escaping this.
No, I did answer. I was the first to answer, but then Monkey Boy cut me off. But it's
My
you
bad.
you were yeah. My answer was unanswered prayers, right? So you said prayers being answered. These guys gave great answers to why it's coincidence, and my
Yeah,
answer
yeah,
would be
yeah. They did.
yeah, my answer
Yeah.
would be unanswered prayers, right? So there are people who pray for bikes, and then coincidentally they get a bike. But then there are people who pray for their children to be cured of disease, and God doesn't answer. So that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, like I said, it's not an adequate mechanism because out of the thousands and thousands of prayers that are done, very few come true, and they use that very few as evidence, even though that's not rigor, right? It is not probabilistic, meaning it should be, just inferred to be coincidence, nothing more.
Yeah.
I would also add that even if you're taking the data of answered prayers, like it doesn't really point to God in particular, right? Because there are different religious frameworks that all do the same thing, right? They all pray to their deities, and they could see that their prayers are answered. And so it's
Yes,
either the case that
just
all
like
deities
pixies.
are true, right, or none of them are true, right?
Or
Yeah,
pixies
yeah.
might love the idea of gods, and everyone who prays is
Where's
praying
my
to that pixie.
Wi-Fi?
And they answer wishes occasionally.
Okay. Do you have another one, Kyle?
Look at the trees.
Yeah, I do. Thanks for your answer, everyone. I hope I don't become an atheist after this.
But why? This is the
Because
thing.
this is
'Cause-
my second life on advanced. This is my second life on advanced, and I'll still like to keep on joining and learning things from someone else's perspective.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you can be
All
an
right. So
agnostic, right? You can be an agnostic, so you
hmm?
don't. You can be agnostic, so you don't make a claim as a theist or an atheist. You just say, "Hey, I'm agnostic. I don't know," right? And then you can keep coming up and asking questions as an agnostic who leans towards theism, because as a theist, it seems like you have a bias, and so even though you might be learning, you'll always put something on top to keep your bias. So if you move towards the center, then you won't have that bias anymore.
Mm, okay. All right. So can we conclude with this? Say if one does not believe in God, then no proof is sufficient enough. And I'm trying to say like no proof is sufficient enough. But if one believes in God,
Evidence, not proof.
then no proof, evidence, proof. Okay. Yeah. Let me repeat that statement. If one does not believe in God, then no evidence is sufficient enough. Then, but if one believes in God, no evidence is required. I don't know why I keep on using proof. So, do we agree with that?
No, because I could be convinced. I'm not speaking for everybody here, but if say the skies opened and a big clouded man popped out of the sky and said, "Hey, I'm God," and then did some miracles, like even though I know that this could be an illusion, so could the whole of reality. So it would be very hypocritical of me to all of a sudden become that skeptical of my own empirical knowledge, just because it's something that I've not believed in. So yeah, if God popped out of the sky and said, "Hey, I am God," I'd love to have words with him. I'd
Yeah,
love to
so
challenge him, but yeah, I would believe in him.
yeah, this is a thing I said earlier. Philosophically, the organon for the tool of utility in reference to that which is real and ontic is literally just the mechanism of evidence. Evidence is that which is the bridge between conceptual states and objects and objectivity, right? Objective entities. For something to be true, it must correspond, and the correspondence is evidence. So the only way you can justify God or have sufficient warrant for God's existence is only evidence. If you're saying God does not have the capacity to encapsulate an evidence, then there's no way to endeavor in the truth of God. Therefore, God fails as a model. It's illogical and
You
incoherent for
say
there to be
something.
truth outside of evidence.
Rafa from the comments section. Sorry, Rafa from the comment section. You said there are counters to all they've thrown at me. I want you to understand that they're not throwing something at me. I'm just bringing up arguments, like, so we can talk about them. I'm not trying to like prove someone wrong or prove someone right. I'm just trying to bring arguments that we can. But if you like wanna like argue it or join us on the debate, the host, can you like give him send him a request to join us if possible?
I'm maxed out at 6 people. Um, TikTok doesn't like me.
Oh, I believe, yeah. I don't know.
Have you
Well, he
tried
Oh,
said
he
this
said
he's
he's
at
at
before?
work.
work.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
He said he's at work.
Yeah.
Okay.
To be honest, I don't think
Yeah.
Ain't no
I
way
don't
a
think
holy sister
I
really
hope
said
you're
L
really at work
advanced.
though.
No, no one calls advanced in L and doesn't get banned from this life. Advanced,
and she's a
do your
and
work.
she's a mod and she's a mod.
Yeah,
And she's
ban
calling
her.
me an L. Damn.
Disgraceful.
What was I saying? I'm lost. Oh yeah, I don't know how much Rafa's gonna help you on this, hey? Because I think he's agnostic, and he's
Yeah, like, no offense, I've talked with Rafa. I don't think he's gonna have much arguments.
Um, at Rafa, I actually hope you're at work though.
Do you have
yeah.
another argument for God, Kyle? Or
Yeah, I have another one. I forgot.
I let's
I'm gonna have to
So
start
far, we're
playing
like
devil
oh for 5.
advocate.
I believe like from the teachings. Sorry, I'd like to answer somebody on the comment section. Anonymous says, "Do you believe Jesus is God because he was human and humans are born naturally?" I like from the teachings I've received, like during my going to churches, learning about the Bible and stuff like that. I'd say that they always say that God is like three in Trinity. That's God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. So I believe God the Son should be Jesus, right? I don't know. You can answer me in the comment section. So
Yeah. Also,
back to
also,
what
if
we
you're a
were saying.
theist, you're welcome to send a guest request. Yeah. Go ahead, Kyle. Sorry.
Okay, okay then. So
You believe in
Encyclopedia
hypostatic?
Encyclopedia Britannica describes God as supreme, supernatural, or preternatural being that is the creator or sustainer or ruler of the universe and all things in it,
I would reject that
including
definition.
human
I'm not gonna lie.
beings.
So the problem with
Yeah,
definitions with
that's
God is they're not real. We don't
okay.
observe
So
God to
but
give him this description.
okay. Okay, but it is often concluded that one, if one does not, okay, I already said that before. Many find God's hands everywhere in creating high complex structures, blah blah blah. Okay, so how can we experience God? Um, some find connection between science and religion, but many others see no valid scientific explanation for God. Many stress that God cannot be bound by the laws of science. Science is not in a position to prove or invalidate the existence of God, some feel. A few mix God with nature, just like what I tried to do before. Then some find God incomprehensible and uncomfortable and do not even attempt to look into his or her mysteries. Many view God as a delusion and find the idea of somebody responding to the praise as absurd. That was what we just talked about. Some ask, does God have to exist? That's what the host is asking. Uh, yeah, let me stop there. So, what do you guys think about what I just said?
Cool.
Was I wrong anywhere? Because I believe everything I just said right now is
I
right
don't
because
see how that's
that's
like
what we're doing.
okay,
Yeah.
but
I
describing what we're
wasn't.
doing isn't really relevant.
I wasn't listening, to be honest. Is that like
Yeah.
a definition of God?
keep going. He's basically describing what atheists do because he's reading more apologetics that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
broadly categorize
Yikes,
them. So it's like,
apologists.
oh, you're doing all of this stuff that this website says, so therefore website right. So carry on.
Uh, that's not it actually, but I don't know. Okay, let me just carry on. So to the question, can we prove that God exists? The Hinduisms, I don't know what that is. Does someone know what Hinduisms are?
Uh, I believe it's a religion of Indian culture. It believes in polytheism as well.
Okay. Okay. So, Hinduism's answer can be phrased as follows. God's existence can be proved to ourselves from our own experiences to our own satisfaction, but such
No,
proof will not
that's not proof.
necessarily be sufficient to convince others. No, no,
Well,
no.
that's not evidence either.
It's
That's
talking
nothing.
about you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So to convince others. However, there are instances in history of a few
No, I
persons
mean
who
that's
have
not
been
even
able
rational
to
that
who have been
convinces yourself. There's no reason to believe in such experience.
uh I don't know, who's this?
Monkey boy?
Yeah, sure. Okay. No, not Monkey Boy. I saw a comment in the comment section by it was Friday. It says the God of a pantheist is the universe. The universe exists, ergo, and a God exists. I don't know what it's trying to say.
Yeah, that's pantheism.
Can you
Yeah, you tell
expatiate on
that.
that?
Yes, the pantheist view believes that the universe itself is God, and we're all part of God, which
Oh.
is just like an empty linguistic device or term that is synonymous with ontic, right? So God is just that which is existent. So like God is functionally useless. There's no agent independent deity. It's just the universe itself is God, which means quite literally nothing. God didn't cause its right. The
Yeah.
universe didn't cause itself. The pantheism is kind of just bad. It's worse than general theism.
I don't agree with that
Okay,
actually.
let's just
Sorry, I don't agree how
go on.
pantheism is worse. Maybe if you are talking about lesser things to prove, but I feel like pantheism and monotheism are on the same playing field as per
Theism is
evidence.
better than both.
Well, obviously, yes, theism is better than both, which explains less things. There is no more reason to believe that one God created the universe compared to it being more than one God creating the universe. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. So I'd like to like pause on this site I'm reading. Can someone like bring up an argument or something?
An
Well,
argument for what?
the issue is that
Like,
we are
Also,
the one.
Jim. Where's Jim's input? We love you, Jim. Come on.
I'm sorry.
Yo,
For
Jim.
what?
sorry, what did you
In,
say?
input for what?
I mean, there's
I'm not
nothing
sure
to
what you
really
mean.
input on right now, is there?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't understand why you're asking for like an argument. Like, are you mean like a refutation to what you said? But what you said isn't an argument to refute. It's just like random text
No, no,
that.
no. I said, like, no, no, no. You guys don't understand. When I was about to read the last part, I said, in conclusion, meaning I'm done with that site.
Yeah, we get it,
Yeah.
but I mean, like,
S-
I think the panel here, right? In some way or another, we hold the position that we don't believe in a God, right? Unless I don't know if anybody's a
Mm-hmm.
deist here. So I think you're coming from a position where you do believe in a God, and so I guess we've gone through a couple of arguments in terms of why you believe that. Um, I think the onus is on you in order to show why you believe that, and we could give you our opinion, but we're not going to give you an argument for God if we don't believe in God.
Firstly, okay, let's go like you can't give me an argument because you don't believe in God, but you can also give me an argument telling me why you don't believe in God.
It's
Because
simply
all I've
just
been doing
Russell's
since is
teapot.
just like bringing up
Wait.
topics and
So
stuffs.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Russell's teapot says that which is unfalsifiable is not burdened on the negation to justify. So I don't need an argument in reference to why something isn't the case because we can't verify nor falsify God. So if you have some rhyme or reason to hold in the affirmation of God, you need some form of justification or evidence that is, more indicative of such consequence.
As I said before, if you like believe in science, or sorry, if you like, I was wrong with that statement. Sorry about that. If you believe in God, then no evidence is needed. But if you don't believe in God, then
Without being a rational
there's
belief.
no amount of. Sorry, what did you say?
That would be an irrational belief.
On what?
The belief of God.
Yeah, because you're saying that if you believe in
The
God, then
belief of
no
God.
evidence is necessary, right?
Yes, irrational is literally to
Yeah.
believe in something without evidence. So that's
So
irrational.
just
There's no
imagine if
rhyme or
we
reason.
like conducted everything else in our life like that, right? If we conducted like medicine like that. It's like, oh yeah, I really don't need to prove whether this medicine works. I just believe it does, and so I don't need any evidence to show me that it does. How do
Yeah.
you know
So
that you're taking actual medicine that's going to work, or you're taking something that's going to kill you?
yeah, that's a pragmatic view. So where's the utility in believing in God? Like, how is this useful to our lives? And because I can grant there's a God, but there can be no afterlife. And even there being a God, he might not be the creator. Now, if you want to go theist, right, a theist route in relation to doctrine in some form of religion that is incorporated and extrapolates on the view of God, all theism just fails. Like simple theistic dilemmas just represent how models of a belief in a religion has no reason. Like there's nothing greater in believing in a religion as opposed to believing in a God without a religion or any God.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I should just do something
Yeah.
like this.
So so
I'm
Carl,
I'm a theist,
so
but
Carl,
right now I'd
maybe
like. Okay, speak,
yeah.
speak, speak.
So I mean, I feel like we've spoken about everything here, but we haven't spoken about. I think one of the biggest reasons I don't believe in a God um, is kind of like teleological evil. So think something like animal suffering, right? Animal predation, right? The fact that kind of like lions have to literally hunt and kill their prey, and how ruthlessly they do this, right? And it's not that um, the lion is, I don't know, choosing to do this because it wants to, it needs to do that in order for it to survive. In other words, it's designed in such a way that it ruthlessly needs to hunt and kill other organisms, right? So for me, this seems extremely inconsistent with a kind of like all powerful, all loving God, right? So I'm not sure. I mean, we can talk about teleological evil in particular, or we can just broadly talk about the problem of evil, even human caused evil. But I just think the theological one is probably like the strongest version of it. But like in your view, how do you explain evil in your view? I'm assuming you think God is like all powerful and all loving.
You said, how do I explain evil?
Yes, with that. Yes, that's the
Yeah, what do
question.
you, what do you take to be evil?
What do I take to be evil? Okay,
Not specific
personally, I
actions, like what
believe
qualifies.
what qualifies evil. Okay,
What is the derivative in
I
which you make the inference that something is evil and something is? Would you say God is the moral touchstone for that which is evil and that which is good?
yeah, I think I would say so. I believe so because if you're someone that
Have you heard of
like
the Euthyphro
from someone
dilemma?
that sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, there's this dilemma called the Euthyphro's dilemma, which has yet to be refuted in reference to why God has no moral touchstone. So it's either one of the two, which is a dichotomy, that either things are moral because God says them, or God says them because they're moral. So you would have to commit to one of these two.
Okay, if I'm gonna like talk about this, I'm gonna say in the sense that
But
okay,
I want to know,
for
do you believe things are moral because God says them, or God says stuff because they're moral?
sorry, can you like repeat that question?
Yeah, so do you believe things are moral because God says they are, or says to commit them, or are things or does God say them because they're moral?
I don't know. That would be coming from God Himself because, well, when it
So you
comes from
think
to my
morality
perspective, I
is just the
believe.
conformity to God's nature?
I don't know. I don't know.
So
I don't
things are
want to
moral
give a
because God
definite
says, or
answer on that.
all right,
I don't want
well
to give
then,
a
Monkeyboy,
definite answer on
let
that.
Kyle answer the Monkeyboy. Let Kyle answer the teleological evil argument before the Ephoro dilemma.
sure.
So Kyle, why do animals? Yeah, yeah, of course. Why do animals suffer? Why do they have to unalive each other in such violent ways? Why did God make it like that?
He's Christian, right?
Okay.
Kyle?
You see, I would say from. Did you just call my name?
Yeah.
Did someone just call me? Okay. What?
Nah, you can go ahead. I think it was lagging a bit. I think we couldn't hear you, but we can hear you now.
Okay. So I say from the perspective of we that believe in God, when you do things like kill another person, do bad things that are denied or that are said not to be done by God, that's we believers. I believe that's what is considered like evil, like killing someone and
So are
doing
you a
other
Christian?
unincluded things that are there. Yeah, I'm a Christian. I'm saying it from Christianity's perspective right now. Do you get
But
what I'm
yeah,
trying to
so
say?
so the problem
Sorry,
with
can
this
I ask you
is
a
when you
question?
say
Can I ask you
you
a
believe
question?
killing is immoral, right?
But no, can you just listen to me? Like, let me finish before you like ask the question. Okay, so that like what I said was from the Christianity's perspective, not just me. That's what Christianity preaches exactly. But if we look at it from uh another like from another opinion or from another directive, I'd say that the law is like the law of nature. Like the stronger survive, or how do we put that thing? It's like the predator will always come after the prey, something like that. Because for
Sorry for
animals
cutting you.
now,
Kyle, sorry for
But you
cutting
believe
you.
killing is immoral, right? That's what I'm trying to understand. And
yeah,
if he
that's
doesn't
that's
commit to
that's
Can
that,
I
that's what we've been told.
can I ask a question, please? Sorry,
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
you
ahead,
can,
Caleb.
Caleb.
because because Mitch asked you to answer the theological presence of theological evil. So, and do you understand what that means? Because the way you're
Mm-hmm.
answering this it shows that you don't understand the question. Because the question that was asked was is talking about why is there presence of animal evil, animal cruelty, if God is an all-loving God?
No,
That's the
I guess
question. That's the question you're supposed to answer. What you're talking about is not talking about the question.
so.
So,
Yeah,
do you need an explanation for the question so that you can understand, so that I can give a succinct answer?
yeah,
Okay, give me
and
an
maybe just to
explanation for the
add,
question.
to what Caleb is saying is that it's not that it's evil only. It's that it's designed purposely to be that way, right? Or at least it seems to us, right? It's not that the animal is, I don't know, drowning in an ocean and something bad happens and it dies, right? It's that the lion itself needs to eat, and it needs to hunt other animals, and it does it in this most cruelest way possible. I mean, this one time I had a phase on TikTok where it was showing me nothing but about animal predation, and I hated it, right? And this one time there was this crocodile that was eating another zebra, and it was alive, and the zebra tried to run away, and its like intestines and everything was just falling out, right? And it's I mean, for me this is like and it's not that the crocodile is doing something wrong in a way. It's just doing what it's designed to do. That's how it knows how to feed, right? So it's not that there's evil only, but it's designed specifically to be that way, right? And I think that's what makes this at least a teleological version, a teleological evil, like, I don't know, I have a very strong argument, I would say, against like the existence of your types of
But
gods.
Well, I think
But
Kyle
even
did
then,
answer both of these, right? Before you go, Monkey Boy, I think Kyle
I
did
think
actually
I
answer
think I
these.
agree with what you're saying.
Nice,
I
nice.
but
Because I was about to stick
I
my
like gave a similar answer. I gave a similar answer to that. You know, like